Well, hello and welcome, welcome. Let me say, happy Valentine's in advance. We have, fast approaching it, and all the men are probably hot by now. But hey, it's all in, it's all good. It's all good. But we have a very, very sensitive issue that we are discussing today: Bimbilla clashes, and at the moment, reporting about 10 to 11 already have lost their souls. And as a chief, I know how sensitive it is when you're dealing with traditional matters. It is so emotional. You can't just sit back and just say, oh, why don't they just leave it? No. They're talking about their bloodlines, they're talking about their birthright, and each of the parties believes so strongly that it is theirs, that if you are a referee in such matters, I pity you. So, Sir Bimbilla, there were clashes again with two gates who are entitled to the stool. The issue indeed has got all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court they're all waiting for the Supreme Court to come up with the ruling as to who should be the rightful heir of Bimbilla. Okay, the ruling hasn't come yet, and due to that, one of the reigning monarch, if I may say, went ahead to install a sub-chief. And the other party who are saying, listen, there's a court case standing, so don't carry yourself as a chief until the court case comes along, got upset. And they didn't just get upset, people are vacating the towns, women and children have been wounded, 10 are dead. So we are talking about a serious, serious, serious issue. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'll introduce my guests who will sit down and discuss these issues very gently to find out what will be the way forward. My name is Nana Sakwal the Fourth, Akwamwedu Masahini, and also your host. Don't even touch that remote. Coming back. Well, thank you very much for staying. Bimbilla clashes, matters are rising. With me in the studio is Wing Commander Patrick Sobojo, security analyst, not a stranger to the show at all, not a stranger to the show at all. Indeed, has been very, very helpful anytime it comes to security matters. With his broad experience and extensive travel, he's able to keep us in depth on security issues. And I like him because he's also a traditionalist, so he's sometimes able to also share the technicalities when it comes to traditional issues. Wing Commander, Happy New Year and welcome.
Same to you. How are you doing?
Very, very well, very, very well. Always glad to see you. Let me just get your preliminary comments on this Bimbilla issue.
I think it's a shame that it keeps popping up now and then, and looking at lives lost, and then the amount of money to be used to keep, peacemakers out there, it's getting out of hand. And we must find a way out to solve this problem. Maybe siding outside the court. How do we dialogue to try and get some peace there in the interim?
Commander, let me just interject. Let me go straight and speak to Father Titus Kusa, who is in Bimbilla and understands the origins of this to set the premises for the conversation. Father Titus Kusa, good evening. Hello, Father, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I can hear you very well, and thank you so much for agreeing to shed some light on this issue. We're looking at the issue which is happening in Bimbilla, where lives have been lost, and I just wanted to find out if you can give us an update of what it is that started this whole thing that's built up until here. Give us a little background.
Right. All the issues that we've gathered so far, especially from the media, because I have not gone to Bimbilla since the issue, the violent conflict erupted, but I understand it has to do with some traditional and customary scheming of a sort that the parties or the factions to the conflict did not seem to have an agreement. That's part of this violence, which has claimed the 10 lives so far as we are talking, unfortunately. So I'm here to find out the details, exactly what kind of scheme are we talking about, and what is the relevance of that scheme that has led to this. So what we are looking at now is a traditional, it's a customary issue where there's a disagreement between the two factions. The way forward may be to continue to engage them, to get a greater understanding and an agreement among them so that such things will not reoccur again in the future.
Father, I'm told, I mean, the two gates are waiting for the Supreme Court ruling, which is not coming. I mean, how, has it taken too long, or it's a normal procedure from when the case went to the Supreme Court till now?
Right. From the engagement that we've had with the two parties so far, and from the information that is getting to us, the Supreme Court actually has started a process. But you know, the court processes, they take a bit of time because both the respondent, the defendants have to maybe make their submissions here and there before the final verdict will be given. But that, for now, seems to be the answer to this particular situation in which we find ourselves. Since the person did not accept the verdict of the national and the regional House of Chiefs, I think the Supreme Court now has to give us the final decision so that at least the rule of law will begin to operate from that perspective.
I mean, at the Supreme Court level, are both parties saying that, look, we will accept whatever the Supreme Court says, or they're going to go for a review?
Right. From the engagement that we've been having with them, we'll try to engage them at several levels of dialogue to continue to maintain a relationship. They have always indicated that they are waiting for the Supreme Court, and they are ready to accept the verdict of the Supreme Court. And we want to take them by their word that no matter whatever the Supreme Court comes out with, they will all accept the ruling from the Supreme Court.
I mean, I'm sure you're not there, but, you know, the incident that happened, was it grave enough to spark such violence, or maybe they could have disapproved, but the level with which this violence and the lives lost and people who have fled the town, I mean, do you know what chief was being skinned that caused such outrage?
Right. Today, I tried to get through to Bimbilla to find out the kind of chief that was being skinned. I think it's more or less of a ceremonial nature, somebody who stands behind the chief so that maybe in the sense that he's performing his traditional and customary rites, the person is by him. I think that is a kind of what we call a chief that that was being skinned. Okay. But as you said, you see, when it comes to conflict, it's an emotional thing. And sometimes when you want to bring rationality into it, you don't appreciate it. But they are so emotionally attached to this process that certain times you wonder whether somebody who is thinking through will perform such a. And when I also heard, for example, that the 7 people who were killed came from a particular family, I started asking questions. There might be certain things that we from outside are not aware of, are not privy to. And I think we still need a further analysis to get to the root causes of these issues. Because from what I'm gathering, 7 of them came from the Patina family, and a woman and a child. You know, in normal conflict situation, normally these are the people that are being spared. But why this particular time? Why the woman and why that particular child? You know, so that's what I'm saying. There is a lot more to this particular issue that needs a bit more of analysis to appreciate why this that has occurred to the extent that women have lost their lives, a child has lost his life. That is not fair.
That's a really terrible terrible thing, and I think you shared a lot, you know, different angles as to why they will harm, you know, women and a child, because normally, as you said, they would spare them. Are they sort of like bloodlines, and they're trying to end the bloodline from there, or?
Yeah, you know, for us in peace building, we try to say this: we never have to give up on the people. We intend to visit once again when the place stabilizes a bit. We intend to continue to open up the dialogue processes, and then we hope that the wounds will be healed, and the Supreme Court will also do its bit so that we can stabilize the place and then move ahead.
Father, before I let you go, with your experience and interaction with them, what will be the remedy that we can do to bring any peace apart from the Supreme Court case? Is there any other angle that we can use?
Right. What I would like to say is this. Generally in Ghana, we don't seem to allow the rule of law to operate. And I think that is where we should be hitting at, so that people should begin to obey the rules that have been set up by the nation, so that in case there's anything happening, go by the processes. Processes are very important in these matters, because if I have a grievance, I cannot take the law into my own hands, and do what I want to do. Why can't I channel the grievance through the appropriate quarters to be addressed? That's what I'm saying, that maybe we all have to educate the parties who are emotionally so much charged on this issue to follow the due processes in handling their grievances, so that people don't take the laws into their own hands, whereby innocent lives of this nature are being lost, that are irreplaceable. So I think that is what we should be doing alongside what the Supreme Court will be coming out with in respect to the Bimbilla issue, so we don't have any reoccurrence of such an incident, sad incident that has occurred in Bimbilla as of now.
Father Titus Kusa, thank you very much for that. Thank you so much. Let me come straight to studio and again get a response from Commander listening to what Father's just narrated. Women and children, it's a bit strange.
It's very sad. It's very sad. Many times I've been to the studio, I always talk about intelligence gathering, because I believe from what Father has told us, there must have been the intent to carry on an act. And from what we've read from papers this morning, they dissect when they had a chat with them and then said they left about 3 a.m. I am baffled that in that situation, how do you leave the scene at 3 a.m. without leaving a reserve team, maybe to look at the situation, and if there need be a call back, to call you back? Because in a vacuum, of course, surprises are a good element or principles of war. Whoever intends to carry on such an act will do it in a vacuum when security is not there. So maybe I think I will fault the dissect. They went there to perform a good job, but they left a vacuum between 3 a.m., hoping that all was well. They didn't get any feedback from...
Could it be that maybe they were really assured that, okay, that's it, we're not going to go ahead?
For at least for 24, 48 hours, there must be an informant who will keep you abreast of what is going on. Because it's not like a war where someone has to do a kitten crawl, hide behind a tree, come out with an arrow and shoot you. They are carrying guns, and they have such powerful weaponry in the north. And sometimes when these things erupt, I also get worried, why can't the national security sit up and find out how they can mop up weaponry from the north? Chieftaincy problems erupt everywhere in this country. We don't hear of any killing. Dialogue comes in and it's quiet. But we know the northern part of our country is heavily armed. What efforts are we doing to get this arms from the citizenry? That's what baffles me.
Probably an unfair question for you, but could authorities have told them that, listen, because of the court case, let us cease fire in terms of and skinning anybody until the Supreme Court case? Is it within the authorities' mandate to inform the chief that, listen, let's wait for Supreme Court before you carrying on this?
Yes. So on what we read is when I said again, what warning did the District Security Council, what did they kind of warning or what kind of advice they give the other faction? Please hold on. Don't skim until we've gotten to the Supreme Court one. But now, I don't believe the Supreme Court will solve the problem. Because it wants to kill people. It takes time for them to forget. So if it was other faction which went and killed those women and children, do you think in about 5, 6 years they're going to forget and say, let's sit down and drink cocoa or eat masa together? No. They have the pain within them, and the least chance they have, they would like to revenge.
So it just prolongs the matter?
It prolongs it. We must find a way to make sure that we have a perpetual peace there, but the way things are going, it's a bit difficult. You see, how do the arms and things get there? They are there. If they have informer, they will tell you that maybe Mama has buried about 4 or 5 AK-47 in his farm. They won't keep them in their houses. So what is the security doing that makes sure that once you take the arms from them and ammunition, then they cannot go on carrying such dastardly acts. But I don't see of any action which, goes to prove that the security system is trying to mop up, weaponry from that area, and it keeps erupting.
Commander, one thing that you keep saying anytime it comes to security is moles, implant people who give information, and it seems to be a very good problem solver. But is it legal? Is it permissible in today's security? Maybe it's past.
It is. If you go to war, you prepare for war. I mean, with that information, how are you going to do it? There are factions there. You have implants. After all, when you go there, you find out maybe the factions, you have a mother on this side, a father on this side, and an uncle on this side. It took me too difficult to find people for the purpose of achieving peace to give information that maybe in 2 days or 3 days, this enslavement will come. And no matter what they come to say, we are going to do it. Or we are more or less maybe pinpointed a house that will want to go and kill somebody. I don't think happens just suddenly. There's always a plan of action. And within the plan of action, implants should be able to give information to the security for them to act. Because it's not today, it's been happening. And I said there might be a revenge situation that you killed my mother, my sister, it's you. They know those who carried on. They know them. And by all means, they are going to revenge when they have the opportunity.
In a situation like this, how do you achieve peace by getting them to forgive? How do you do that?
It is difficult. It is extremely difficult there. But if in Bimbilla they have a crossover families, like I said, intermarriages here and there, then it's a bit easy to handle because my wife is there, my son is here, my nephew is here. It's dialogue. The dialogue you can start in Hamlet, 2 houses, 3 houses, 4, 5. Once they get a basic understanding, it will cost the security people less time to do it because we are beginning to accept each other as we are all brethren. So let's do this. You don't have to get them more in a market day. Well, last weekend to come and talk to them. No, it doesn't work. Get to the basis. I mean, where is it coming? Like I said, 2 or 3 families or 2 or 3 people, call them. If you have to move them away from Bimbilla somewhere, let them understand that we are all related and there's no point in killing each other. Once they get the roots of peace, then the dialogue can be extended to other people to help to ascertain peace in the whole area. But they need information. Why, if you don't get information, it's useless. The security can't do anything because once they are not, and they are not on 24 hours monitoring, anything can happen at any time. And there are several degrees of warnings, from white, yellow to maybe green or red. So you monitor where exactly are we now. If you don't, then these things can happen.
Commander, I'm wondering, what if the Supreme Court comes and says, okay, the other gate who's not now in the palace is the rightful heir, and therefore you moving. I mean, what then happens?
I don't think they said they will accept it, but I doubt if they will accept it quietly. That's why there's a need to let them understand that we are the same people, the same language, the same blood. We've intermarried. We've got factions here and factions, but let's just keep the peace. If we started from the low platform, and once they agree, they're the same people who will go and agitate. We have to find a way to start from the nucleus, talk to them, they need to accept. The Supreme Court will come, but it doesn't mean that they might accept it. Once you have lives which are lost and the cause of revenge comes in, it becomes difficult. So the earlier they start, and this has been going on for some years now, I don't think we've tackled the issue of trying to dialogue between the factions. Let them burn themselves out on whatever is worrying them until they can break cola together. And so with broken cola, therefore we'll have peace. Whoever is imposed on us will accept. If we don't, I'm sorry, I don't think we can achieve much.
It's 0560 800 000, 0560 800 000, because I know I have lots and lots of viewers up north, and maybe somebody in Bimbilla is watching. Send the message. Let's see what's really happening out there, what's causing it, what you think the remedy will be to end this issue. Because as far as chieftaincy is concerned, and Father said is that forget about rationality. It is so, the emotions are so high, nothing matters. But the other sensitive question, which may be unfair, is their chieftaincy matters, as you see, they crop about everywhere. But when it comes up north, it gets a little bit too violent. Is it that their issues are more bigger than us, or what is it? Because issues up north, they get a bit more violent, but there are chieftaincy disputes everywhere, like you say.
It looks like theirs most probably are too deep-seated or rooted, and they don't forget, they don't also want to accept the peace. The peace they have there may be superficial, but deep down, they don't forget, they don't forgive. And once you don't forget, you don't forgive, it will keep erupting all the time. I mean, fancy these women who were killed. They are not combatants. For what purpose were they killed? Unless somebody feels that maybe from this particular house. And I also found it a bit strange because on what Father said, the chief they were trying to enskin is not a chief with any responsibility. It's like a social honor or something. Therefore, he doesn't carry any weight. Why should this be a fight to kill people? It means that there's something deep-rooted that we have not been able to take hold of it and try and maybe eradicate it. If it's going to be a chief who had a certain responsibility in the area, then maybe. But a customary honor chief, I mean, why should his enskinment cause that trouble to kill people? I don't understand why it should go that way.
In terms of sensitization, what should they do? A whole reorientation to starting from class 1 or something? Because it's one too many.
I have said here before that much as they have the Peace Council there, we have a lot of well-qualified, respected people from the north or northern part of this country, from east, west, and the northern region. I think it's getting to a time whereby they should form a group. I don't know what it is. I mean, people who are respected, who can also go in and help the Peace Council there to be able to get them and then start speaking to them. Because whatever they are doing now is cladding the whole north. I don't think all of them are that, I don't know where to use now, that they want to see blood. But I'm sure most of them are south and they are not here. So why don't they go and get hold of their own brethren, like talk to them, look, what we're doing now maybe is cladding the whole north and say we are blood thirsty people. They must get involved and help the peace council they have there, to achieve a certain amount of peace. Because maybe lots of things are getting out of hand from a peace council. Relationship or relations who are here in the South who are respected can also go back and help to achieve peace around that area.
Is it something that would ever happen, or we'll just have to manage it? Because there's always been curfews and curfews and curfews, but we're still here discussing this issue.
It's difficult. The situation is difficult. Both of us, having already lived with them, to know their behavior, but no matter whatever it is, it's dialoguing.
Now, let me go
Dialoguing.
Commander, let me go to the phones and speak to Dr. Ishmael Norman, who's also a security analyst. Dr. Norman, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Very well. Doctor, we're looking at Bimbilla clashes. I'll let you hear your preliminary comments on it. What do you think is happening? What's happening?
Right. I think the issues are several.
Yeah.
We have the chieftaincy issue, and because of the outcome of the activities involving the chieftaincy issue, we now have a national security issue, and then we have criminal investigation, and of course, emergency intervention, as well as post-conflict management. So I think we need to start paying attention to some of these developments because, like the chaos theory, butterfly that flips its wing here may have effect and consequences in another location, and this could create copycat events because of chieftaincy issues are quite a few in our nation, and so we need to pay attention because of the consequences of such development.
Doc, one issue that was, I have with me in the studio is Wing Commander Patrick Sobojo, who's also a security analyst. And one issue a question that I asked him was that, and you just said that there are chieftaincy issues all over. Well, why does it become a little bit severe when it goes up north?
Why did what? I couldn't hear you.
Why does chieftaincy issues become severe, with bloody, clashes when it matters up north?
Well, I think chieftaincy has been with us for a very long time. The chiefs used to play an extremely important role. For the past 500 years or more, longer, we have had chiefs. And it also is it's a status, it's part of our culture, it's part of who we are. And so succession planning becomes extremely important. And the Bimbilla incident is actually an outgrowth of succession that went wrong. And so I think the Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs already has a lot on his plate, beginning with this and others that we know about within the country.
Doc, so in solving this, what do? Do you go to the root and solve the chieftaincy issue and then move up to now solve those who have been killed and try? I mean, how do you solve such an issue since it's multifaceted?
This is why we need to break it down. We have the chieftaincy issue. Then we have national security issues. Why didn't Ghana intervene, provide all the precautions before 10 people and others? 10 people died and others got injured. Then because of the death and the injuries, we have a criminal investigations on our hands. So in the same location, a lot of issues are cropping up. And then we have emergency intervention. There are people that are probably internally displaced in Bimbilla and the surrounding villages. So what are we going to do to ensure that those who may be internally displaced, are they being catered for and who is doing it? And then we have the post-conflict management. I think this country has seen a reconciliation commission before. No matter how big the issues in Bimbilla are, I believe in the capacity of this country to solve the problem through conciliation, mediation, but political interference should be out of it, and let the people speak to each other, come to the conclusions they want to have, and then let us live in peace. But a court case is like legislation. It will lay out the rules of engagement, but it wouldn't heal the wounds of the people that are aggrieved.
Just my question I was going to lead to the aggrieved woman and a child, that's lost their lives. If their husbands are in hiding and they come back, what are the chances that they won't, payback?
I believe that when you forgive someone that has wronged you, you yourself become liberated. I believe that Ghanaians are forgiving and loving people. I believe that the politicians should be out of this conflict. I believe we can all live in peace. I believe that.
Doctor, hold on. Sorry, hold on. I'm coming to studio and I have with me Wing Commander Patrick Sobojo. Forgive and forget, you be free. Doc, Commander, what's your position on that?
It's a different ball game. I mean, religion comes in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Other religions don't believe in it, forgive and forget. But deep-seated, anguish in somebody's heart, the least opportunity, he is bound to revenge. That's why I said right from the beginning, there must be dialoguing between the two factions, whether they are 4 or 5, and they must understand that we are all brethren. Whoever you kill, this woman and the son who were killed, either could be a joint funeral, bury them together. We have to start peace amongst them at a certain stage. Like we all said, the court case will not necessarily, offer peace there. But without dialoguing for them to understand themselves, let's leave this level and go to another platform where we can go to our farms, where we can go to our market, where no politician is going to talk to us. We had some chieftaincy problems in the rest of the country, and they're all similar. But people there have come to understand that there's no need to take cutlasses and kill each other. But it's quite different from the North. So I'm saying that the national security is failing in intelligence gathering to know when these things are going to come up. They also failed in mopping up the weapon they use up there. For all of us are aware that there's a lot of weapons which have either come from Burkina and Mali, where there's a lot of insurgents or terrorists there. Some are come from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and they are all ending up in the north. What is the wider picture? How is the government going to come back and retrieve this ammunition weapon system from them? If they don't have it, they're not going to use a catapult and kill it or a cutlass. But they have these things there, and we are not getting them. And I'm saying that you need intelligence. We did it some time ago in Burma camp after one of the governments, where weapons coming from another country were broken in, the caches were broken into it, and then arms were being shared on a runway. When we managed to achieve a certain amount of stability, and we said we wanted to search barracks, you'll be amazed the amount of weapons we recovered from dug-up pits, where people are kept AKs and machine guns and so forth. The same way, Bimbilla is not the whole size of, let's say, Accra and Adan and somewhere. There must be proper planning and a surprise that we want to amount or maybe go there and see if we can recover the weaponry system within the area. Until that is done, if I know that I have a machine gun and I can kill, and it'll kill people of my family, if I get a chance, I'm going to kill you. But kill you with what? As I said, no catapult or cutlass. So we must recover the firepower which they have out there. And this is on a national issue.
Let me go to the phone and Dr. Norman.
Yes.
Doc, you see, you're raising a very good point as to look, keep the politicians out because they always go in there and they cause a mess. But we need government intervention. So how are we going to keep the politics out if we're begging for government to intervene?
Oh, when I say the politics should be out of it, it doesn't mean that the government in power should do nothing. Because what I'm trying to say is that there should be credible solutions, steps to solve the conflict. And so if the government in power is calling for reconciliation, if the government in power is mediating between the warring factions, if the government in power is doing what is necessary to cater for those that may be internally displaced, that is not politics. That is a duty of the government to the people, we the people.
Okay.
I believe that if we go in right now and decide that we're going to take arms from the people, you won't find one, you won't find two. They will hide everything. Without conciliation, there will be no willful surrender of weapons because everybody is waiting for the big day when they have to kill their neighbor. If Rwanda can live in peace after so many hundreds of thousands of people being killed, I believe Bimbilla is a piece of cake. If there is political will, and we and the people of Bimbilla want to live in peace, we can do that in this country as well.
Dr. Norma, I'm still with you. I mean, what is it that, the slightest issue up north, causes such uproar? We are told that the chief that was being skinned probably even hasn't got a lineage or where he's going to, a stool or a skin, is it?
Yeah,
so
skin.
He's not even going to own a skin. Just an honorary chief that's just there, ceremonial. So I mean, why would such an act cost 10 people's lives?
Nana, without addressing the rights of the parties to the throne, I would like to sound a word of caution that part of the problem in Bimbilla is because of the touristic interpretation of outsiders to the issues having to do with the chieftaincy. I will not respectfully answer that question because I am an outsider. I may understand some of the issues, but I don't even speak the language to get the nuances of some of the issues that lead to the conflict. So I think that's why I'm calling for mediation. Then the parties will come because whatever analysis I give, it doesn't mean anything to the people that are fighting. He who feels it knows it. And so for me, I will rather listen to what the people will say as an outsider, as a mediator, as a conciliator, and facilitate the conversation between the warring parties so as to arrive at peace that they have brokered between themselves.
Dr. Norma, could that be the problem where we sit in Accra, Minister of Interior, just send troops over, go and do this, without probably understanding from them what it means to them? Could that be part of the problem?
I believe that is part of the problem. It truly is. I think that the government has to do what it has to do, but they have to rely on the people that are within that locality that understand the issues, the history, the behavior of the people, the mannerisms of the people. Because in arbitration and mediation, you're the mediator. You don't go in with the preconceived notions of what the outcome should be. It should be dictated by the parties themselves. So I think we're not approaching the whole conflict resolution properly. And I think it's about high time we surrender to the people of Bimbilla for them, call them to a table, for them to decide if they want to continue to fight each other or they want to live in peace. I believe they will choose peace over conflict.
Doc, Commander raised another issue that the affluent citizens of Bimbilla who are now living in Accra, if they go back, maybe their voices would also make an impact. What do you also take on that?
I think everybody counts. You know, in a conflict, everybody is important. And so whether they are affluent or whether they are poor, I don't look at these issues because money is not the reason why they are fighting. If people can kill some people over a guinea fowl, you realize that it's not about the guinea fowl. It is about the pride of the family. It's about the pride of the clan. My wife is from Navrongo. I understand intrinsically why some of these issues cannot just be understood by people outside of the region. So I think even if they are in Accra and they are in the area, they also have a say. They also must be given an input, and they also must be at the table because they have the ability to influence things back home.
Dr. Norman, thank you very much for that insight.
You're most welcome, Nana.
Thank you so much. Commander, I'm a chief, so I understand the technicalities and some of the minor things as to in the process of installment. Some will say they pour the libation before slaughtering the chief. They slaughtered the sheep before pouring the libation, and people will stand to their ground to say no, and there is no convincing them. And should the people of Bimbilla be left to solve their own problem? Because they know and understand what. Because to us outside, we are looking at rationale and all that, but they know what's going on.
Certainly, this is what I said. There are people from Bimbilla, most probably we didn't put, I don't know if the doctor got it. We're not talking about a bag of money stuck behind a car to go and shed. But in every society, there are people who are respected in that society. And we're saying that, like, we can solve the problem if this seated. So most of the people there should join hands with the Peace Council there. They know the power brokers there. You may have somebody who's not a chief, but he's a well-respected historian in the village. How do we get to him? The people in Bimbilla know who they are. They may be living in Accra, living in, let's say, even out of the country. They know how to get to their own people. They speak the same language. They have the same customs. They must help. You're not going to take other people from, let's say, Navrongo to go and solve the problem of Bimbilla. There must be people from Bimbilla, and first of all, do they want peace? They must understand that we need peace. If they need peace to go to their farms and do other jobs, then there is a way to solve the problem. Without agreeing that we want peace, no matter how many curfews you put on them, no matter what surprises you do, they still have this anguish, and if they get opportunity, they will do it again. So we must approach it from different angles. I still come back to my intelligence. Prevention is better than to cure. You don't allow it to happen, then you go and resettle them with some tent somewhere, and after a while they are going to come back. If they have the anguish, they get opportunity, they will strike. So let's get to the nitty-gritties. What is causing the trouble there? And once you get to know, then get people around. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Why are we killing each other? Let's have peace. And then that's the beginning of growing a tree of peace within the community.
Commander, how important is it for the security apparatus, police, DISEC, everybody, to understand probably the traditional setting of the area with which they are protected? I say this because sometimes, the police will say, look, we can't get involved at all, so we just sit back. And you sit in there and you just know that, look, this is clearly white, and they can easily would have put a stop to prevent everything, but they completely just stay back. Should they be briefed, to a certain amount, so that at least in confidence they can say, look, Captain is definitely the Mancrado here, and therefore this is within his right? I don't know.
The issue is that if the police or the military, when they go superficially, it's action against action. They can stop the fighting. But you see, it is not out of place you use the same people from Bimbilla who may be, I won't say spies, they live there, so they are not going to go to another community, who can offer information to the security. If they have to be paid to do that job, let them be paid. But unfortunately, in this country, as soon as you tell somebody do this job and this is what they are going to get, he'll go and sit by a pito and let the whole crowd know that I've been given a job. Therefore, he blows even his cover.
I'm national security.
Yes. So there must be a way of getting people who may be enumerated. And when these things start from a spark before it gets or turns into a smoke and fire, they can release information to security, and the security can go and maybe halt it.
Let's say if, let me use Akosombo since it's my jurisdiction.
Yes.
If a police commander is posted to Akosombo, should he come to the traditional council and say, listen, give me a sheet of all your legitimate chiefs where there are no disputes? So you come to Dumasan and answer as the chief, there's and it's all there on paper. So that tomorrow, should anything comes, the police can confidently say, no, according to the traditional council, he's the one we have to recognize, therefore back off. Because what then happens is they just stay back and then they watch while the trouble goes on and on because they are not supposed to intervene. Could they at least get some information from the traditional council to say, look, there's a dispute here, here there's no dispute, here there's no dispute, and therefore in taking your decision, you can be confident in this one, you can hold this one?
Well, by law, they are not supposed to get themselves involved in chieftaincy matters. They are to maintain peace, law, and order. That's the specific job given to the security. But when a policeman or a military goes into a locality, the first thing is to report to the Omahini. And through the Omahini, you get to know the other sub-chiefs. Then it's your own personal relationships with them. You know, if you have good relationship. You see, unfortunately, our police was set up during the pre-colonial times by the British, and it was only meant to achieve a purpose for them. When you go to Britain, they will not employ somebody from, let's say, Birmingham to become a policeman in Liverpool. They are taken within the perimeter or the area. So if anything happens, they virtually know each other. You know, but here it becomes a force where you might transfer somebody from Kwo to go to Volta region to be stationed. First of all, he doesn't even understand the language. He is not too sure about their customary rights. But if he goes there and wants to learn, then he will have to learn. And he knows who to contact in any phase of conflict, then it can work. So I believe this is the duty that the police or the military goes in when the police are unable to contain the situation. Then they go in to go and assist the police. The police have been trained how to preserve law and order, and they must not take sides when they go in.
Being that, you know, chieftaincy and traditional matter is such an integral part of us. I mean, can we tell the police, policing a society being ruled by a chief to say, look, stay out of their chieftaincy matters? There should be a part where they're able to, you know, stop.
You know, when I was a young boy, we have what you call Ahimfie police, which were under the traditional council, and they could affect arrest and do everything to maintain peace before the blue uniform police or the khaki came in. But of course, this area has been taken off. It's no longer there. You know, if they have to maintain law and order, the one you know as a chief, gazetted, is a chief. Anybody gets that to try and disturb the peace, you go to him and try and help him because his name is on the gazette as a chief. But if he's not gazetted, it becomes a problem. But the question we are asking now is that, why is it that in the north, the least thing concerning chieftaincy becomes violent? People are killed. It happens every night and day in the rest of the country. We must find a solution to why any little thing.
30 seconds. Are Southerners the Northerners' problems, or are Northerners their own problems?
I think they are all the same. It's the ability to agree that we need peace. and we don't want to kill each other. We want to dialogue. Dialogue is the best thing which we need. Dialogue, sit down and spill out your feelings or your grievances for the other side to agree or not to agree. At the end of the day, we don't break cola in the south, but they break cola there. So now we've arrived, we'll have peace, and let's end it. That's the way to go around it.
Well, a way to break cola, and definitely we have to break cola. 10 lives lost for whatever reasons, too much, and should never happen. And we hope that this would end very, very soon. But I always give you this number before I go, and it's 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. Tanti's Fashion. They supply shirts on the show, so give them a call and get yourself one shirt. But let me say thank you so much, Commander. It's good to see you again. And to one and all, if one is not free, all of us are not free. Let's hope that this is resolved as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again.